What is up, YouTube? That's here today. I'm super excited to be doing today's video. Today we're going to be fixing a team that was submitted to me on Patreon in our official December Patreon team fixing post. If you guys have a team you want me to fix, you want me to take a look at and fix live in a video just like we're doing today, think about joining the Patreon. There's a link to it in the description. But basically, every single month on Patreon, like I said, we have a post. People can submit teams. I always like to use a little funny image there. And yeah, I get to look at your teams. I get to use it in a few games. I get to talk about what I like, what I don't like, what I would change. And then we're actually going to go in at the end of the video and make all the changes that I'm going to be talking about while we're playing the team live. I think we already have about 30 teams submitted. I'm going to try and do a few every single day, and then make videos of them, stream them, stuff like that. Today, we're going to be taking a look at Haru's team. And the reason why I decided to pick this one is because they were so descriptive in what they actually wanted each Pokemon's role to be. They said they haven't done this in a little while. They got this to Master Ball. They had a really, really cool gimmicky Pokemon in Lock 6. And because they were so deliberate and so methodical with how they actually added these Mons, I felt this team was a really, really good a good team to look at, because I can take just how specific they were, expand upon that, and then really, really make a meme team like this one shine. If we actually go back and take a look out back at the team here, this team looks really, really cool. Lock 6 is cool. We got the little bit of Shadow Sneak, Covert Cloak, Gardevoir with the Weakness Policy, weak Armor, Ceruledge. Umbreon's cool, Pelipper's cool, Grimmsnarl's cool, but there are so many small things that I could personally fix on this team. We're actually going to be taking a look at the Eevees as well. We're going to be doing that. I guess we could just do that right now. But yeah, we're going to be taking a look at the Eevees as well. You can see a lot of these sets, they need to be just optimized. This is a 2v2 set that can definitely be fixed. This is another 252 for the most part set that can be fixed. We can move those points around a little bit. Gardevoir's doing a little bit better. Umbreon, this looks like a good set. Pelipper could be optimized just a little bit, and Grimmsnarl could definitely be optimized just a little bit. So there's some small things that if we took a fine-tooth comb and looked over this team after playing some games with it to understand, each Pokemon's role and playstyle, I really think I can help this person make a team that could make a push for like rank 1 or 200 with some really, really niche off-meta picks, which is what we do here. So if you guys like this, if you guys want me to fix your teams as well, think about joining the Patreon. Even the lowest tier gets access to this sort of stuff. So without further ado, we're just going to go play some games. I'm going to play 2 or 3 games, explain my thought process, why I'm going to be bringing each Mon and what I'm actually trying to be doing. And then, hopefully that'll give a better understanding as when I go into the team fixings as why I'm going to be making the changes that I'm going to be making. So if you guys like that, that's cool. If not, let me know in the comments and we can just do raid war battles. I want to know, so let me know. And yeah, let's go play some games. Let's go play some VGC. Now, the number one thing that I have with this team is that it's super, super reactive. Like, yes, Gardevoir can policy proc the Ceruledge, but like that doesn't work if they're using Tailwind. They can just Tailwind to outspeed it. Lock 6 is cool, but again, if they Tailwind and we can't actually just like one-shot the Pokemon that we need to one-shot, we're in for a bad time. Umbreon's cool, super reactive. Pelipper is a Tailwind setter, but it's not like a Prankster Tailwind setter, so it's really, really reactive. And Grimmsnarl, I don't think, let me just check, its moveset is Sucker Punch, Spirit Break, Thunder Wave, Parting Shot. And I actually don't think the Grimmsnarl that was submitted had Thunder Wave. I think they used a different move. No, it's still Thunder Wave. Okay, so at least we have some sort of speed control here on Thunder Wave. That's great. So we're going to need to bring the Grimm. In my opinion, I think it'd be really cool to go for the Gardevoir play, but like they could just leave Murkrow. So because they have Murkrow, we can't open up with this. We might be able to bring it in the back if we really need to. It's a great pivot in on the Make It Rain from the Gholdengo as well. I think we should also try and feature the Lock 6. So like I'm going to try the Grimmsnarl Lock 6. And the plan here is to open up a spot for the Ceruledge and the Gardevoir to come out. Look at all these things, nicknames. And I'm surprised that it shows nicknames. It says ranked double battle right there. I didn't know that it showed your nicknames here. I think it's a good change. But yeah, that's a very, very good team. Note that I did all of this talking about what I want to do with this team without really taking into account that much of what our opponent's doing. With these games, I really think, especially if you're using a team for the first few times, you should really try to understand what you're doing and put yourself in the mind of the person who made the team so you can understand their thought process. And yes, you have to respect big forms of speed control like Prankster Murkrow, but other than that, you can basically be trying to force anything you want. Like right here, we can just first impression that Hydreigon for big, big damage if we want. So we also get, we also show Air Balloon. Another thing about this team is we're using, our items are like Life Orb, Lock 6, Weakness Policy, Ceruledge. We have defensive items. Our only real defensive item is an Air Balloon on the Grimmsnarl, I think. And In any case where you're going to be using a defensive item like a citrus berry or an air balloon or a damage reduction berry, it's always better to just use a sash if you're not using one. I don't think we should be using sash Grimmsnarl, but you get the idea. What do I want to do here? I think I'm actually just going to Sucker Punch this Goldango. You also want to remember to PP max your 5 PP moves. Super, super important. This Grimmsnarl has just an Adamant Nature, so it shouldn't get the KO. I'm going to pop off. Let's actually think, do we just want to double Sucker Punch the Goldango, bro? No, I'm going to First Impression. I think it's really, really cool. Someone's tearing, right? But someone's going to take a lot of damage here. Yeah, they're going to Terra one of those guys, obviously. Obviously. They're probably going to be Hydreigon. Probably going to be Fire Terra and go for a Heat Wave. It's almost like I play the game. So you're like, this sort of thing, and you might be thinking like, if you knew he's going to do that, why'd you do X, Y, and Z? Well, realistically, we're still trying to learn what they're doing. I think, first of all, if I was the person using Fire Terra Hydreigon, I would not be Heat Waving here. Just because you don't want them switching in the Cereal Edge, but it's completely fine. Like, we don't need to get KOs here. I'd like it if you miss on Loxus, that's sick. Or miss on Grid, that's fine. So they're going to get a double KO with Make It Rain and Heat Wave, but then we have our actual core in the back that's able to be safely brought out. And especially if like that Goldango's making it rain here, that's going to be great. And if it's not making it rain, like what's using a move? Because we use, we use Sucker Punch, but this is fine. We're actually able to see so much of what they're going to be doing here. And the Hydreigon outspeeds the Goldango, so it means it's not Scarfed. Let's see if we see Orb on any of these games. I don't think Hydreigon had Orb. No Orb there. So cool. This is totally fine. You know, we did take 2 Mons loss on the start, but like I think we're in an okay spot. I want to see what our Terras are on the guard. Our guard Terras to normal, and that's okay. And we keep our Terra Fire on the Cereal Edge. I think we're just going to go for the Shadow Sneak and the... Actually, we don't need a Shadow Sneak. Yes, we do. We actually do need a Shadow Sneak. That sucks. I don't want a Shadow Sneak my Cereal Edge because we actually want to outspeed Hydreigon without it. Let's just do it. I wonder if we should Terra Normal. We probably should just to keep this thing alive, and then you can actually keep the Hyper Voice, which is actually really cool tech. Yeah, so let's just go Terra Normal. I'm assuming that they're switching that Goldango, but you know, you never really know with these sort of things. So we're going to do that, and I think Bitterblade does get the KO. And then next turn, if they want to keep the Goldango, we can just KO it with like... Dazzling actually might be able to get the KO, but we can always Shadow Sneak it. Let's go for Bitterblade. It's fine. It'll get the KO at +2, even though it's resisted. Alright. So we're Terra Normal. And the only reason we're going Terra Normal here is so we don't die to Make It Rain. Looks like they are staying in with that guard, or sorry, with the Goldango. I wonder if they're actually just going to go for Shadow Ball. That'd be really funny. That'd be really, really funny. And the Make It Rain should not be doing that much damage to my Cereal Edge. So we're okay here. Shadow Sneak's fine. So this is going to activate our weakness policy. It's going to activate our weak armor. So we're going to be fast and we're going to be strong. And we're going to be using a move that restores our health when we deal damage. So we're going to be going back up to full. Before we have to take that Make It Rain, and it shouldn't do that much unless they crit. Shouldn't be doing that much unless they crit. So Bitterblade pops off. Hydreigon takes the L. Now the cool thing about this is I can Shadow Sneak again if they like bring out Murkrow and Tailwind to get even faster with this Cereal Edge. And so if they bring out something else, I can just be faster and stronger and just start one-shotting things left and right. So let's see the Make It Rain. You shouldn't get any KOs this turn. And that Goldango's like hot garbage now. Yep, so it's not even going to do half to either of these guys. So we can just actually ignore that slot. This is another cool tactic for VGC that you want to start doing in your games, is if something's lowering its stats through like Draco Meteor, Make It Rain, stuff like that, or if like they're frozen or if they're asleep, like make their teammates fight a 1v2 and just nuke those teammates over and over again. I can ignore that Goldango slot for the rest of the game. And if I was able to correctly, analyze like the reason, why are they bringing on an Annihilate here? Like think about that. What do they have in the back that they don't want to bring out? I think if they had Murkrow, they probably would have brought it out because they could haze away. So that tells us that they don't have Murkrow. Would they bring out... I think if they had Dragonite, they would have brought it out. Dragonite, has a good matchup for Cereal Edge, I think. So that means that last Mon's Gallade. Has to be Gallade. I'm going to go for the Bitterblade here and probably just a Moonblast into that slot. I'm going to double dip the Annihilate and go like Bitterblade Moonblast. Just because I'm not that afraid of what Goldango can do. And if they want to pivot out the Goldango, that's absolutely fine. We already know they outspeed it. So there's the Goldango pivot out. So like I said, if we knew what they had, I don't think it's Murkrow. There's just Dragonite. So Dragonite, I'm surprised they didn't bring that out, but it's completely fine. We actually outspeed here with Bitterblade, so this might KO and actually redirect the... Cool. I'm happy that we actually double targeted that thing. So I was going to say, because it would redirect the Moonblast. But yeah, if you know what they are going to be bringing in, you can sometimes just nuke the Goldangos in that slot. I didn't think we'd almost die there. That's a lot of damage. That's really, really not good for me. Because now we're in range for Dragonite E-Speed. I'm very sad about that. So what's this guard's speed stat? This guard has, I thought we had more speed. So it's level, it has 60 points. I think next turn we have to protect the Scarlet. We have to, just go for E-speed. And then we're going to try and KO the Goldango. And then we might have to go for a double protect into a Moonblast into the Dragonite slot. I mean, I'm assuming, well, actually, let's think about this. If you were to E-speed me, if you were to E-speed my Scarlet, and I KO'd your Dragonite, you would KO me with Make It Rain. And I think that's a Specs Goldango. And I don't know if we have enough, I don't even know if we outspeed Goldango. You know what, let's actually just do it like this. I'm assuming that you do have E-speed, and there's not that much I can do about it. I'm going to try this. And I think I lose the E-speed here. Yeah, there's not that. Oh, they went for the guard. I was going to say, the reason why we did this, oh, this is going to be a crazy end of this game. The reason why we did this was to punish them reading a protect into the Scarlet. And I felt like that's why this was my best option. Let's see if they're multi-scale or not. Like, either way, this is going to do a ton of damage. If they're not, that's a lot. So right now, we win. You can't fight both. We already teared. So like that, in that situation, if I would have protected my Scarlet, I would have lost the game. So that's one of those small little situations that you need to really, really understand your win condition. I feel like this was we definitely should have lost this one. They should have just E-speeded the Scarlet. They still can, but, you know, we're going to get the win. I think Bitterblade probably does get the KO here. I think they're going to go after my guard. I think Bitterblade probably gets the KO, but, like, it's really, really hard to tell. Shadow Sneak wouldn't do it. Yeah, you know, if Bitterblade doesn't get the KO, we lose. It's our best shot. They should be E-speeding the... Oh, they're not E-speeding at all. They should have E-speeded the guard there, too. Yeah, so that actually... They could have still E-speeded the guard and then E-speeded this guy. Like, we don't restore enough health for that. So, this guy definitely could have played this better. Actually, he might still win. Yeah, Earthquake, good play. I can't do anything about it. Oh, wait, we have Levitate. I forgot we traced Levitate. He messed up. Dude, I actually forgot about that, too. See, even me, I'm learning stuff. Dude, I forgot that I traced Levitate, like, way early on in that game. Dude, I will take those wins. But it's those small little situations where I want you to understand in watching this game that we should not have won that one. They could have pivoted around a little bit better. They could have E-speeded better targets. But I want you to kind of understand that the bad situations that we were in, you know, we were only in those situations because we got undersped by Annihilate and undersped by Dragonite. So maybe when we're fixing the EVs for this team, we can remember that and fix them to make it so we outspeed those Pokemon potential in the future. We can go to Pikalytics, look up common spreads for Dragonite and Annihilate, and then outspeed those with Gardevoir so we can actually bully those Pokemon because it looks like they're a little bit of a problem for the Scarlet to deal with. So overall, good first game with the team. I think it functioned exactly how we wanted it to. The Lock 6 worked. I think I let a Lock 6 Grim, and all we really wanted to do was be able to come in with Scarlet Gardevoir safely while also dealing good damage and scouting to see if they wanted to lead Tailwind. They decided not to lead Tailwind because they felt their speed control was adequate enough. We punished them for that, and we got safe switch-ins. I feel that a lot of people really don't understand the nuances in sacrificial, sacrificing monster regain board position. Like, for example, that whole lead, like, first of all, if they wouldn't have teared the higher ground, they just would have lost it, right? So the fact they led with that exact lead, they knew that they could get 2 KOs, but they didn't think about the ramifications of my board repinning their other board. So it's like they let us re-KO double back and then just have the exact board that we actually needed to win the game for the rest of it. I mean, I think they could have played Dragonite a little bit better, but, you know, I'm actually really just excited. You can tell I'm really excited to actually start fixing this team. We're going to play one more game, and then we'll actually get into the team fixing. So let's go into the next one. And I will say with these games, like, it's okay if we don't win, because the whole point of these is to understand what the team could be doing better. Like, that last game was a really good example because we technically should have lost if they played that just a little bit better. And so knowing what changes we have to make, like changing our Gardevoir speed or changing some moves and things like that, that can give us the insight that we need to be able to win future matchups. So against this, they still have the Murkrow, so big Prankster Tailwind. They can definitely block out all of our, shenanigans from things like Lock 6 as well. We might have to just hardcast the U-turn. They also have like Entity Armarouge, and that's a little bit harder to deal with. You can still side priority move your own mon, so I can lead like I can lead like this if I want, and I think I will. I think I'm gonna lead like this if I think this is a solid lead. Even if they lead Entity, I think that's fine. And now close combat's pretty bad against Armarouge. I don't want to deal with that. I don't want to. We have Wyguard as well. I think Wyguard's a pretty good lead here. Let's lead with the Lock 6 still. We don't want to bring the Grim. I don't like the Mirror Herb here, so I don't think we're going to do that. I think you can just leave Pelipper. I think Pelipper's just a solid mon here. Get up some Tailwind speed control, or just punish things. And then we'll bring the same 2 in the back. Grimmsnarl's not that great here because of the Indity and Umbreon. I think the reason they said they like Umbreon is for the Dozo matchup, and I think there are just better mons to deal with Dozo. But let's see what happens here. Let's see. So if they want to go with Murkrow and like Annihilape and things like that, I think we have a good board. If they want to go Indity, Armarouge, go TR, I still think our board's good. If they want to go Mousehold, I still think our board's good. They could redirect our Shadow Sneak, which is another reason why I didn't want to lead against Mousehold. There's a Mousehold, so Mousehold and Meowscarada. This is a fine lead for me. So I think you can just hardcast the U-turn. They're going to want to Pop Bomb. So they're going to want to go Population Bomb into something. I would be Population Bombing the Pelipper here. Does this Pelipper have Protect? No, wait, it doesn't. Oh, God, it doesn't have Protect. Dude, that sucks. So that's really, really bad. Do we have Ghost Terra? No, we don't. Okay, so in those situations, like, you got to have stuff to respect Mousehold. I think that means I'm going to be first impressioning the Mousehold and hopefully just KO it. Oh, this is really, really bad. I thought that we had Protect. The whole plan of this was to Protect bait. This is a Ghost, right? Yeah, this is a Pivot. That's all we got. If you want to go for my Loxix, like, be my guest, I really think that you should be maybe knockoffing the Loxix. Let's see. First impression is so good here. Follow me, that's absolutely fine. Like, I just didn't want to die, bro. I just didn't want... If you can knock out that slot if you want. You might also be Fire Gifting. Like, this is a lot. That's a good amount of damage. We take Life Orb. Fire Trick. Cool. You can go into Fire Trick into either of these. So the plan here now, I want to check my Loxix and Cerulege speed tiers. Ow. Does so much still. So we have 92. So the Cerulege is faster here. And that's actually what we wanted. So now that, yeah, especially the weak armor proc. So now what we do here is we go, we're going to hardcast a U-turn here. And I think we actually just pop a Protect. Because basically what they're going to be doing here is either going to be going for Sucker Punch into this slot. Or something like that. And I think we can probably get away with going for a U-turn. I don't know if they're going to be following. Either way, if they do, we still get the KO on the Mousehold with the Loxix. Or they just pop on the Loxix, go with a Sucker Punch here, and then we get a free switch into something like Gardevoir or something, which could still be really good. And what's our Loxix tear into? They pivot the Meowscarada. Cool. Bug. We tear a Bug. Okay. So we'd like to get a U-turn to be able to reapply our first impression. Annihilate. That's a good play from them. I almost want to say I hope they just hit our Loxix so we don't activate. Like, I hope they just pop bomb us. Beat up. Oh, that's cool. I see what they're doing here. Good play. Nothing wrong with this at all. Absolutely wonderful masterful play here. I still think we're in a great spot, though. So they get a ton of Rage Fist procs here. Great, great stuff. And, like, even more from the U-turn. I think we bring the Pelipper back in. And what we're going to do is KO the Mousehold with our Cerulege. And then we're just going to go for, hopefully, a... not Tailwind. Oh, we don't have any speed investment on this Pelipper, bro. This is bad. I wonder if he's going to Rock Slide us. I wonder if he even has Rock Slide. He's leftover, so I don't know how much speed investment he has, but this Pelipper has 0, which I don't really like. If you Rock Slide me, I lose. That's basically the story here. I'm going to Wide Guard this first turn, because I would like to see if... Like, what are you using? Like, I guess this is making it so you can't Rage Fist. And if you have to Rock Slide, like... I kind of want to Rage Powder, right Wide Guard to stop Rock Slide. I just don't know if this team has it. Oh, we don't even have Hurricane! Okay, that just answers that question. Alright, so that's another thing. It's like, bro, you can't just not be using that. We're going to go for the Bitter Blade. It'll still get the KO, I think. We have a Weakness Policy proc. They're going to follow me here. Okay, Terra. Let's see what you're Terraing into. I know it's raining, but I still think we'll get the KO with the Fire. Alright, they're Terra Fire as well. Cool. We're gonna have to, like, close combat that thing, I think. Hydro Pump would have been nice. Let's see, though, what they're actually... I think they have Rock Slide. It's just my opinion. Like, if you KO one of our mons, you kill one of our mons. We're gonna be able to take out the Mousehold here, hopefully. And... You could Rage Fist me. I just think that that's so disrespectful of the Pelipper. Oh my god, that just didn't KO. I guess I should have close combated. I really thought that would do more. I know that it's raining, but... Oh, wait, I didn't get my policy proc. That's my fault. This is my fault. We lose this game. We lose the game I completely threw. Yeah, you also are Rage Fisting. Dude, we actually ate that. That Pelipper is fucking thick. Holy shit, dude. That's so crazy. I mean, it'll KO this turn, so might as well do it. Yeah, I forgot we didn't get a policy proc, no wonder. Faint, good play. So we're going to be able to trade 2 for 1. Very, very underwhelming here. It's my fault. I should have just went for the close combat. Like, I thought I had a policy proc already. Just because I got a weak armor proc, which is not the same. This is another thing. This is why I don't think Pelipper really works on this team. It clashes so hard with what Scarlet is trying to do with the Bitter Blade. So when we actually fix this, I think I'm going to replace the Pelipper slot. Like, it was cool that we ate that, but yeah, I'm not feeling it right now. We still have the Loxix. Sucker Punch might end up doing a lot. They're going to bring out the Meowscarada, and hopefully the Loxix scares them away. I don't think there's like anything I can really do against that guy, though. I don't think there's anything I can do against that thing. Yeah, Gardevoir's okay, but it's not great. Like, Hyper Voice is cool, but I think we're going to have to, like, normal Terra Hyper Voice. Oh, Entity. Okay. So it's a redirection. The only thing we can do here is just bait. So we're going to go Protect Guard, take out the Entity, and then the turn after that, we're going to Terra the Vital Spirit. Okay. Yeah, so we're going to try and KO the Entity, Protect, Bait, Guard, and then the turn after that, we're going to normal Terra it. And hope that's who they go after. Like, we can't even really hit that Annihilate over here. We just have to, like, wait out everything. See how much damage we can do her. The last Mon that they have is Meowscarada. Yeah, I feel like I could have played this one better too. Like, I really messed this up by going for the Bitter Blade while not having a policy proc. It's completely my fault. There's the Follow Me. So if they go into the guard slot, you know, they're wasting a turn, and then next turn they're going to do the same thing because the Protect's on cooldown. And we'll be able to get away with... Oh, not getting that KO really sucks. Really, really sucks. Okay. There's that. And so this turn we go for... I mean, you can use Hyper Voice, I guess. It'd be nice if Gardevoir... See, another thing, like, it'd be nice if Gardevoir was, like, outspeeding here, but we normal Terra here. There's no reason to protect, because that's actually what we want to do, like, next turn. And we can't Sucker Punch. Guess we double tap this slot. In case they pivot. They're not pivoting. Cool. So, I mean, this is just going to make a U-turn go into the Annihilate. It's not going to do, like, any damage at all. I want to see how much damage Hyper Voice does. 2 Hyper Voice crits, we have it, you know? I don't know how much damage... Like, we have a pretty good matchup versus Meowscarada as well. That's first, yep. Oh, actually, I'm surprised. No, not surprised. No, that's correct. So we get the thing off the board. Single target damage here. They should be Rage Fisting into the Gardevoir because it protects on cooldown. Awesome. And so now we have a 50-50 on the board where you don't know if they're going to be Drain Punching the guard or going for a Rage Fist into the Loxix. And what I think they're going to do is they're going to go like Flower Trick into our guard, which I don't know if they can get the KO on. They could be banded. We actually don't know anything about that set, but we have heavy HP defense on this thing, so I actually could probably just eat it. Turns on Psychic Terrain are 3. Man, it makes so hard to use Loxix in this situation. We need to wait one more turn to, like, bait them out. I'm going to do the Hyper Voice here, and I think I'm going to pop the Protect on Loxix because they haven't seen it. They've only ever seen us come out and use, like, one move and then... No, we switched earlier. They know we're Life Warped. But I don't know if they know that we have Protect. I think they might go, like, Rage Fist into the Loxix and a Flower Trick into the guard. Or even double up into the Loxix, and I think that, like, that's probably our only out in this situation. Yes, they could be Drain Punching our guard, but we've already shown, like, an affinity to weave in Protects on guard, and I don't... Let's see. Yeah, Brick Break Protein, that's just way too much damage. Yeah, it's banded, by the way, too. Hey, what are you going to do? That's a choice banded Meowscarada. I think I could have probably played this one better, but let's see what actually we're doing. Rage Fist. Okay, we don't know who they had to be hitting Loxix, so... Yeah, I think in this sort of situation, you can really see just how hard it is to fight terrain. So first of all, we're going to want to make some big changes for dealing with terrains. We're going to want to make some big changes in Pelipper's effectiveness here, because I don't think that Pelipper really goes with what the team needs to be doing. It also has no flying moves, which I thought it did. It has no protect, which I thought it did. So like I really think Pelipper and Grim on this team are the weak links, and we were able to find that out by playing, you know, a game that didn't end up going very well. I think the last thing that we want to do is confirm that the Meowscarada is banded, and the way we can do that is by staying in full return. It's banded. I mean, I knew it was anyways. They could have crit anyways. They deserve it. That was a good play. They played the game really, really well. I should have respected Mousehold just a little bit more. And, yeah. So, you can tell, though, Loxix is cool. Scarlet and Gardevoir work. Umbreon is for a niche Dozo matchup, which doesn't need to be so specific for. And Pelipper and Grim are the things that are holding this team back. So, those are going to be the big changes we're going to make. I'm going to play one more game to confirm my thoughts on this. Who knows? They might change. Yeah, I might really get some wins with Pelipper, but like Ice Beam could probably be Ice Wind if you're going to keep it. Hydro Pump, you have to basically use Hydro Pump. And Wide Guard's cool, Tailwind's cool, but they're better Pokemon that do Wide Guard and Tailwind, and Pelipper just clashes a little bit too much with the team, I feel. Oh wow, Sun. Okay, so I want to play this better against Mousehold. Let's think about what we need to do here. Sun. Drifblim's really weird. I wonder if that's like an imprisoned Drifblim or it's like just Trick Room. I can take it out regardless. I think that Loxix is still usable here with the U-turn. I think you want to lead Umbreon. I also want to make a point to use stuff like the Umbreon, use stuff like the Pelipper. I think we definitely would bring Pelipper in the back. And, I don't... Let's talk about what we're not bringing. We're not bringing Grim. It doesn't do anything here. And then we know we want to bring Pelipper. Umbreon, I think, is the right play. I think you want to lead a mixture of, like, Umbreon, Loxix. And if they KO the Loxix, like, that's absolutely fine. We actually don't want to bring Gardevoir, because Gardevoir's Trace could reactivate on Torkoal and take away our rain if we have it. So actually, I think we skip the guard here, and we just bring the Scarlet and the Pelipper. So we're going to have to rely on them to policy proc us if we want to get that off. I don't think it's going to happen this game, but, like, you know, this Pokemon's just good for things like Sun. So, let's go. Let's go. Drifblim is a unique choice. I wonder what they're going to do. I wonder if it's like a Flare Boost set. I would like to see that. You don't really see Minimize Baton Pass in VGC as often. It might be there just for Tailwind. It might be there for Trick Room, like a secondary setter other than Indity. They do have like polarizing defensive like types. So like the only way to hit both of them is Dark, which we don't even have. Yeah, this is weird. You can get up Trick Room. I wonder how much I care. That's the thing. Like I can actually first impression that Drifblim if I want. It's flying. Oh, is it Seeds? Cool. So it's Unburden, which is a good set. Unburden with Seeds, Drifblim, and we Mirror Herb copy it. Yo, we take those, man. Give me that special D, baby. That's clean. I'm just gonna U-turn in front of this Indity. I want it off the board. And yes, this will let them open up a spot for Torkoal, but I have a way to deal with that. And we're just gonna go for a Snarl. Make sure KO Sashes. So we don't want to bring in Pelipper yet unless we see them bring in the like Hard Switch and Torkoal. We want to bring in Torkoal or Pelipper after we see the Torkoal. Or we could bring in Pelipper early and just pop like a Wide Guard, you know, and just start snarling the Torkoal. That'd be also a very good play as well. Terra, Indity. Okay. Fairy Indity. This guy woke up and chose Violence. Holy moly. Okay. That's great that they're blowing the Terra on this, by the way. It's the Haze. Okay. All that to stop a +1s for death? That's not worth it. It's not, like... Yeah, so let's see. They're going to get Dazzling Gleamed here. Right, that's what they're doing, because we have 2 Darkmons. A lot of people don't know that Bug Guy's a Dark type. That's what's really cool about it. That's like what makes that Pokemon not absolute garbage. We're going to bring in the Scarlet here to block the Dazzling Gleam. And then we can Shadow Sneak out the Drifblim. Remember, there is a Psychic Terrain, but it's a flying type. And now they can't tear away to lose that, so they have to deal with it. So that makes the Indity just a... Oh, it's a slow Indity. You can totally Trick Room Harris. It really doesn't matter to me, like, at all. I don't think they're Trick Rooming, though. Because, like, if you are Trick Rooming... Alright, go for it. You are stuck with this, like... You know you have a Drifblim on the board, right? Okay, yeah, the way that we beat this is we just, like, click... I mean, we could literally click whatever we want. I'll Bitter Blade into the Drifblim. There's nothing else to do. And, yeah, we'll just keep snarling. Cool, so we'll soak some damage on the Scarlet slot. Like, I think we can get the KO on the Drifblim here. They have to piv something. Okay, cool. Something switching on a Snarl, which is not what you want to do, especially with like Torkoal. And you don't want to activate, you don't want to power up my Bitter Blade either. That is not the play. I'm telling you right now, that's incorrect. Snarl hits on both. It's super important that we hit the Torkoal especially. This should put the Drifblim within range for the Bitter Blade. And we underspeed them right now, so it's not like they can be going for like a Destiny Bomb. Remember, they Trick Roomed us. Awesome. It's great. It's absolutely magnifique, wonderful. So we've already seen their Terra. We've already seen their Driftbloom tech. We can kind of just stay in here. We actually, they don't even know that we're, yeah, they don't even know that we're not Flash Fire. I actually think you don't want to bring your Pelipper in here, because we don't want to have a good crit or something. There's the Indy again. I can just stay in here like this. This is absolutely fine. We can just KO that guy right there. You can actually Moonlight to get the Sun back in this situation. We can't Baby Doll Eyes because it's priority, so I guess we'll just go Snarl again. Absolutely fine. This is completely okay. You might be able to get the KO on the Scarlet if you use the right combination of moves with Indy, like a Psychic into that slot plus the Eruption. Even though it's a -1 Eruption, that should be fine because we want the free switch into Pelipper, and if we get Snarl up on either of these guys, the game's basically just over. I think Driftbloom's really cool. I just think this guy didn't play it perfectly. But, you know, we are featuring it. Earth Power's great. Not enough damage here. Policy procced up. Actually do not know if that NDD... I don't know if... Umbreon might underspeed it and get the Snarl off to make it so we live the Psychic as well. So we'll see. There's the Snarl. I just said it. Yeah, so it's like awesome. So this should keep us out of the range of Psychic and make it so we can just go for the big Bitter Blade to restore that health as well. Super cool stuff. D-Gleam, absolutely fine. It's not even... Look at this. Doesn't do anything. Doesn't do anything. Look at this. Nothing. Nothing at all. So I guess in these sort of situations, Pokemon like Umbreon and, you know, we have that Pelipper to secure our win condition can totally be used. But you see like just how niche of a situation this is? What we're going to be trying to do in the team fixing part right after this is we're going to be trying to basically find Mons that do the roles of these Pokemon, but so much better. I already have a couple cool ideas for a Mon that solves like 3 of these Mons problems in 1, which means the last 2 slots can be just stuff that help the matchups overall without making it hard to use other things. Because like I really feel like the Bitter Blade and the Pelipper clash a lot. Last Mon here is Armarouge. Awesome. And the terrain's gone, correct? No, it's last turn terrain? 2 turns terrain. There is no problem with just clicking Protect here at all. If you KO the Umbreon with something like really weird, like an Armor Cannon in the Sun, we just bring up Pelipper and win the game. That was canceled. So we'll take those wins on ranked, and now we're going to go fix stuff. This is the really cool part. If you guys made it this far in the video, leave a comment saying, I got this far. We're trying to get this video to 100 likes and 100 comments. The 100 comments is probably a little bit harder, so you got to leave a comment and help. But let's go team build and fix all this team's EVs and hopefully have a pretty good time. All right, so those were some really fun games. I do think this team does so many more things right than it does wrong. Again, we're going to keep almost everything on this team the same, but we're going to slightly tweak some things and polish up some of the roles. I think the Loxix is great. All it needs is some tweaks to its EVs, which we'll get into in a moment. The Gardevoir is cool. I really like what they're doing with the Guard. I think it's great. I'm not a big fan of Trace. I think Trace can come back to bite you in the butt. But we don't really need telepathy either, so like if you want to use Trace, just be aware that you have Trace. And you can definitely use Trace against your opponents and get some really cool stuff with Trace as well. So Gardevoir's okay. Scarlet, I think you're doing it great. We might need to tweak the EVs a bit, but it's good. Now the Umbreon, Pelipper, and Grimmsnarl slots are the things I have issues with. This is the Umbreon with the Mirror Herb is there to check Dozo. You let the Dozo get the boost. Remember, they can't switch. You bring in the Umbreon, copy the boost, and just win. That is a free win versus Dozo. There's other ways to get that don't take up a full slot that you can actually use in other situations. Pelipper's cool. It's there to stop like, you know, Eruption spam, Sun teams, AoE teams, things like that. It's a cool Mon, but it really clashes with your Umbreon, and it really clashes with your team's main win condition, Scarlet, in my opinion. It also adds a ton of weaknesses. We already have rock weaknesses. We can't really afford to stack anymore. And last but not least, Grimmsnarl. It's cool, but you see there's so many Mons that stop priority, and if you're not using Screen Scrim, I feel that you're going to slightly... You're going to be taken advantage of by people, in my opinion. And also, like, Steel Terra Grim might be okay in certain situations, but there's no way to capitalize on it. So actually, let's take a look at the type chart here. And you'll start to kind of see where I'm going with this. So, we have big weaknesses already to Rock and Fairy. No, Loxix is a dark type. Like I said, a lot of people don't really know that. Umbreon's a dark type. Grimmsnarl's a dark type. So we don't want to stack that many weaknesses to Fairy, and we already have big weaknesses to Rock. So again, you're starting to see that's where things like Umbreon, Grimm, and Pelipper are the things that are adding all those weaknesses. Like if we were to take away the Grimm and the Pelipper off this, the team looks a little bit more... yeah, take out the Grimm. There we go. the team looks a lot more balanced now that we take out the Grim and the Pelipper. I think what we're going to be doing is I'm going to be going and looking over the EVs and fixing some of the EVs and adding them on, and then we'll come back after the couple changes that I think we might want to make. So let's just go into the team builder here. Let me move my controller. And let's take away the Pelipper. Again, I think Pelipper is cool. If you really want to use Pelipper, that's fine, but I think there are better ways to do it. Grim's cool as well. I talked a little bit about this as well, a little tip here. If you're going to be using defensive items at all, damage reduction berries, citrus berries, wiki berries, pinch berries, air balloons, and you're not using your sash, remember this thing says you can't get hit by ground moves while this is active. A sash just says you can't die, period, once. So you should usually be using a sash first, but I do think that the Grim should be able to be cut. If you really want to keep those mons, this team definitely does work, and I think you made a great job. You did a great job making it, but I think we can slightly optimize it. So the two changes that I would be making here is, again, we're looking for, let me actually just think about the changes that I made. Did I want to keep one of those mons? Did I want to keep the Grim? I don't remember. But I think the two things that I needed, I know that you needed Tailwind, right? You wanted Tailwind, and you wanted, like, other ways to not have that many weaknesses to these mons. So I think a Steel type with Tailwind would be cool. So the first thing you want to do is come in here and type Tailwind. You want a Tailwind user that does not have a weakness to rock, right? You know, weakness to rock's on a lot of these things as they're flying, but there are a couple that don't. So things like Hydreigon. If we were to add Hydreigon, for example, we'd be going way back into that bug weakness because it's a dark type. I think a good Tailwind user for this team that's pretty underrated is Scizor. Let's see what happens when we take Scizor and put it over here. There's the Scizor right there. So you add Scizor here. You're no longer going really deep into that rocks department. Yes, we're adding a little bit more priority stuff, but, you know, Scizor and Lock 6 are very, very good together. I think, you know, coming in with the Lock 6 and being able to go with, like, first impression, sucker punch, U-turn, pivot out to your Scizor, and then Scizor can go for a slow U-turn back into your Lock 6 to be able to reapply that. That's like theory crafting a win condition potential flowcharts that you can actually use to set up some big wins and just cycle those priority moves against teams that don't have Entity and things like that. And if they do have Entity, cool. You are bug types. So good stuff. I think Scizor's a great mom for this team. And I understand the usefulness of Pelipper. I think Pelipper is a really, really good mon here, but it clashes by setting the range. You kind of just want a water type that you can pivot to, because, like, rock attacks are big. We want mons that deal with those. We also need another support mon that can be brought in most situations. And so instead of Pelipper, I would recommend that we try Vaporeon. I think Vaporeon's very, very slept on. Water Absorb's a great ability. And if we add Vaporeon into this, also remember Vaporeon covers up for that, like, big water weakness on our Cereal Edge. Vaporeon is actually not bad at all. People are kind of sleeping on Vaporeon right now. First of all, we also have 2 EVs on the team, which is awesome. But now you see we have so much more defensive synergy. So now we can go for a standard game most of the time where we pick our Lock 6. We think we want to go with our Speed Control and the Scizor. Cereal Edge Gardevoir is good. And then we can go for, like, an Umbreon game. We're going to change the Umbreon set. We can go for, like, a Vaporeon game, and Vaporeon is what we use to check Dozo. So this is basically making Vaporeon the Dozo check, and we're just going to make Umbreon. If we want to keep it, we might even be able to cut the Umbreon for something else, which we're going to take a look at in a sec. You know, this is now functioning as the Umbreon and Dozo check. So we're taking our roles and we're fusing them together. Let's actually just take a look at this right now. If we were to cut the Umbreon for maybe something like, if I can type, maybe like a Klefki. You know, that adds a big fire weakness, adds a secondary ground weakness to go with Cereal Edge, but we have good ground mitigation. We have good mons that are good versus ground. And for fire, like, we should be okay for fire weaknesses because we have a water absorb pivot. I think Klefki is a little bit better than Grim, in my opinion. Being able to set screens, it also gives our team a little bit of a Trick Room option if we did need it. So, like, because you might want to Trick Room with this team if you feel like it. Let's think about that. Like, what is the perfect type to add to this situation? If we were to take the Klefki out, because I feel like you still might need something that, like, says, hey, I want to use Thunder Wave first, if you want, to give the illusion. I don't want to say add Murkrow. I think Klefki is the right option. Like, if we were to add the Grim back here, let's see what happens. I mean, Grim's okay. If you want to keep your Grim set, like, we'd have to change it a little bit. Like, Grim doesn't add as many weaknesses, but I feel like Grim is easier to take advantage of. I think Klefki is a better matchup versus most of the mons in the meta. It's also, like, a little bit less predictable. Like, so for example, like, let's just take the Umbreon out for now and add, like, Klefki here. So, like, Klefki gets a bunch of really cool stuff. Like, you can make Klefki into, like, an imprisoned Trick Room mon if you wanted. I don't think we should. But you can get Trick Room on it. It gets things like Thunder Wave. It gets dual screens. Like Klefki gets a bunch of really, really unique stuff that people don't really think of. And also, like, it's not weak. Right? It's also not super, super weak. There are things that it could be doing better, but like an Air Balloon Klefki would be a lot better than like an Air Balloon Grim. Right? You can also just sash it here. And I feel that people do a really, really good job of like nuking these sort of like prankster mons that set screens and things like that. So you could also just light clay it, put up dual screens, and like have something else if you wanted. I don't think there's a problem with that. Let's see, there has to be something else better that you can do in that situation. So let's go back to this. Again, these aren't like, these team building guides are just basically my thoughts after playing the team. It's not like I have everything already planned out. I do it on the fly as well. I think, for example, like let's take a look. Let's take the Grim out. What did the team need? The team needed something that you could pair with Locksix that wasn't the Gardevoir Serrilege combo that helped us deal with like prankster leads. So like maybe that could even just be Indeedee, right? So like if we were to add, or maybe not maybe an Indeedee, but like a redirection mon. I think a redirection mon could go really, really well here. If you were to add a redirection mon, you can go Locksix, redirection mon, redirect, you know, first impression, sucker punch, do all your stuff, U-turn, bring in your Serrilege, fodder, like protect or redirect until you have to are no longer redirecting anymore, and then safely bring in your guard. That sounds like a really, really safe play. So we're starting to think of proactive ways to flowchart our win conditions right now. So I would say something like a mouse hold here, right? This also gives the illusion, if I can spell this Pokemon, it gives the illusion that we want to go redirect Trick Room here, and then they have to respect the core of like Vaporeon, Scizor, Locksix. They don't know what Locksix does. So I think this is actually a much better way to build the team moving forward. The Vaporeon's taking on the role of kind of what Umbreon did, checking Dozo while also being the team's #1 support mon. The Scizor is taking over the role of what Pelipper did, being our Tailwind setter, also, you know, just being a bulky second pivot that we bring into. This is what we would use to close games out. And the Mouse Hold is just generally a mon that we can pair with either Serrilege or Locksix or even Guard, or even Scizor if we want to get up our Tailwinds for free and then U-turn out into our Serrilege. There's a bunch of cool things we do with Mouse Hold here, and we're also not using our Sash, so I think Mouse Hold's a pretty good mon. So let's put the Mouse Hold here. And let's start building. So the one thing that I want to talk about as well, when you guys submit these teams on Patreon, think about the level that you submit them in, because EVs are in different, like level 100 and level 50, so you always want to set these to level 50 whenever you submit a team, just so we can make sure that the EVs are done right. And right there, these guys should be level 50 as well. Perfect. Awesome. So Locksix. I think that there's nothing really wrong with a 252 set on an aggressive mon like this, but there's slight ways that we can optimize it. First of all, I also think that you should be full speed. Base 92 is actually a really, really good number. There's a lot of popular base 90s in the format. People are outspeeding those by 1 point, and this speeds those by 1 point as well. So you do want to go with a plus speed nature. And another thing here is Life Orb, right? It takes 10% of your health. So what you actually want to do is you want to make it, you can actually get this number to make it so instead of taking like, it takes 1 less HP if you end this number in 9. And so you can go for extra ticks. You basically get 11 turns of attacking if you make this number that you end with at level 50 a 9. So we would actually want to make that into like a 20, I think. Right? And so this is going to make it so we take 1 less HP every single time we use our Life Orb. So it's more cost effective over time. And we're taking a little bit of points out of attack. I know you're probably not happy about it, but we're also going to be able to optimize this attack spread a little bit. Instead of just going like this and leaving it like this, what we're going to do is we're going to take some points out. We're going to 228 here, and we're going to take that last 8 that would normally be giving us 1 HP. Note that if we were to put this in attack, it'd go from 151 to 152. That's 1 point. But we can cut that last 8 up because the way EVs are done is the first 4 matter, and after that, it's multiples of 8. So we were actually going to cut this up and get two impressions of 1, right? So 2 impressions of 1 in a respective defense stat is way, way, way better than just 1 point anywhere else. So this is a much more effective spread than the one you already had. It still basically functions the same way. Yes, we lose a little bit of damage off first impression and sucker punch, but we're way bulkier. We take less damage from our Life Orb, and now we have a higher base speed to be able to be a bully with things like U-turn and pivot out into our bulky walls like Vaporeon and Scizor on the back. So that's really, really good for this team. The Serrilege. we're very, very similar here. So instead of this 220 here, I think that you're not wrong in going 252 speed on this guy. I think you kind of have to. Maybe you don't have to. Let's see. What do we need to outspeed at +2? Because we had +2 proc from weak armor. All right, so let's actually do some calcs here. So let's actually see how fast we need to get, because you don't need to be +2 all the time. So let's go Scarlet. And I think the fastest Pokemon in the meta, the way you can find that is by going right here. Let's just get rid of the mouse for a sec. What we can do is we can just sort it by speed. You can click right here, see the fastest things in meta. Electro's not popular, but Dragapult is, and Dragapult has a good match for Scarlet. So we need to outspeed Dragapult, which is a 142. So you can always be using this to see like what Pokemon you need to be outspeeding. And so we'll plug in Dragapult in the damage calculator over here. And Dragapult at level 50 ends at 213 is the number that it gets, but I'll plug it in just to show you. So like a timid or jolly Dragapult is going to be 215. And again, if you guys are liking this sort of content, you guys are learning stuff, let me know if there's anything you've learned so far. Let me know if there's anything you learned, if you're having a good time. 213 right there. So we need to be able to outspeed that at +2. Remember to always set these things to level 50. The +2 is from the weak armor proc after we get hit with the Shadow Sneak. So you can see if we double this, it's going to go to like 210, and we don't outspeed there, but we can just put in like 12 and get the outspeed. Now you may be thinking like, but then we don't outspeed anything normally, which is correct. You need the weak armor to make this work, but knowing that and adding that with your calcs is going to be what we need to do to make this work. I also think not being full speed, like this is basically the same calcs you would have if you had it with Tailwind as well. This makes it so like, I feel basically this is functioning at the exact same base speed as this. Right? That means you're wasting that many points. Yes, you're less useful outside of your weakness policy, weak armor activation. Yes, you're less useful if you don't have the speed control, but this bulk is going to be what lets us get our weakness policy situation in teams where we can't bring Gardevoir. So 12 points there. We're also going to be able to take the luxury of losing that adamant nature, or sorry, we're going to be able to be adamant if we want, which is really, really good. So basically, this 252 plus nature is basically functioning at this speed tier. There's no other ways to get to a +1. As well, it's not like we have Airstream or Icy Wind on this team, so we don't need to have those +1 calcs. We don't need to get to the 150 numbers to be able to outspeed things. So this function's totally good. If you actually even wanted to go to 20 to outspeed things that outspeed Pult by 1, I probably would. This outspeeds things that like outspeed Pult, so I would do that. And then from there, I don't think there's a problem with maxing out your HP. You usually want to maximize your HP first. We have all these extra points to play with. We're still going to want to be adamant here now. And then from there, I realistically think you can cut this up into 100, 100. Now, you may think, why are you doing 100, 100? There has to be a specific reason for this sort of stuff. I think, for example, going a 100, 100 and seeing where you want to be is a good play. So I think the 100, 100, play 10 games, and if you thought, I wish I had a little bit more Spadef, wish I had a little bit more defense, that could be good. You could also, realistically, because you're weak arming and lowering your defense, you could even go just like 4 here and just a 196. I think if it were me, and I wasn't going to be using this team to learn, I'd be doing the 196 because I know I'm useless on the defensive side. And I'm going to get more useless the more damage I take. So I'd rather go like this and make it so I can swap in on fire attacks a lot more frequently. Swap in on hyper voices. This is going to be great. You could also put the same points in attack, but I don't think you need that much attack off the weakness policy proc. So I would do something like this. And I think this is just a little bit more effective. The Gardevoir set. I think one thing with the Gardevoir, you have the 108 here. See, like you know this. Like you already know. These are your Tailwind calcs. You don't want to be speed tying your Mons though, right? Let's say, for example, one turn I might have to use Blur Blade and Hyper Voice, and you don't know who's going first, so you don't know how to layer up your attacks properly. That means you actually want to be just a little bit faster here, which means we're probably going to want to be 28. And there's nothing wrong with like speed creeping things just like a little bit. Usually we want the Scarlet to be faster because Scarlet has a higher base speed. So let's say I do have to go for like a Bitter Blade or Close Combat next to Gar that's using Hyper Voice or Moonblast, and I can't go for my policy proc that first turn. You want to be faster to give your opponent the illusion that like you're a full speed Scarlet, so they overcommit and try and steal a KO on what would be like a 252 sweeper set. And then they'd be really surprised when we're crazy bulky. So this lets our guard keep the same speed. Let's take just 8 points out here. And, you know, these are all just extra credit EVs too. Like this is great. And the guard basically stays the same. I think that you're fine here. Note that you're still putting your nature in your highest base stat, which is correct. You want to put your nature usually in your highest base stat because it gives a 10% boost. So like a 10% to 125 is going to be much more effective than a 10% boost to like 65. I liked this guard EV spread. I personally wish it was a little bit faster, but I think it works for how you use it. Like after the first game, I knew it was slow. It made sense. Scizor. Definitely want that Technician here. I don't know what item to go on the Scizor yet, but let's talk about the moves that we actually know that we want. We know that we're going to want Tailwind. I don't think that we need Feint here. I don't think that we need it. We're probably going to want Bullet Punch. And like realistically, I kind of want to make a Scizor set with Thief. I think Thief is so underrated. We get the Technician boost on Thief. I don't know if that's the right play, but I think it's fun. We can definitely still put the U-turn here. This last spot can be so many different things. You can put Brick Break here to break screens. I think that's probably the right choice. You can put things like Swords Dance here to make it so you're just a humongous threat a little bit later on in the game. We can even put like Terra Blast here. Let's think about the teams types that give us the most problems here. Fire, Terra, Annihilate would give us a lot of issues, and normally they don't really even carry. Normally they don't even carry the Fire Terra move, so they would struggle versus Scizor. And we could probably one-shot them with a Terra Blast. Let's think about what else. We also don't need Terra on this team, so like let's see. Let's sit on the Terra Blast for now, because we're already using our Orb. We're already using a couple other defensive items. We're going to put Sash on here. We're probably going to put Leftovers on this Vaporeon. And the way Vaporeon's going to work is it's going to have Haze. Haze is the thing that we use to stop Dozo here. I think that Yawn is also very, very nice. And then we don't have the option to go for Scald anymore. That's unfortunate. I think you would just want to go the Muddy Water. I don't really like the Hydro. I think you kind of want to just sit here. And then the way this Pokemon restores HP is through a mixture of Water Absorb and Protect. Every other turn you can be like protecting to gain your Leftovers ticks back. It's really, really nice. And you also can be weaving those in with Yawns to be able to play the long game. So it's like a mixture of a Gastrodon, but it's with Haze. So it's really, really good. I think Umbreon's very, very underrated. Mouse Hold. We're not even doing our E's yet. It's not important. We can go Sash here. I think that like Technician's cool, but if we're going to be sashing it and not wide lensing it, you could even sash with Scizor if you wanted to. I think that Friend Guard's an okay ability here. Because we could go Pop Bombs, but I think we're going to play this guy a little bit more defensive. So we obviously always want Protect on our Follow Me Mons. So you can, elongate the amount of time that they're on the board. And then from here, I don't hate Encore a lot. I think Encore is like a really, really underrated move. I think Taunt is very, very underrated. It's what we can use if we want to bully like Amoonguses. You can just lead with this thing, taunt them, and just be in a great spot. There's a lot of mons that you can just taunt, and then you'd be really surprised that they just get absolutely messed up. You can even add After You here and be on a full speed set if you want. It gets a lot of really, really, really cool moves. You guys be surprised the amount of moves this guy gets. I think we're just going to sit now and go back to the Scizor. What item do we want here? I think Lum is a really, really cool option. I think Clear Amulet is an okay option. Citrus is another very, very underrated option. Expert Belt's not great. I think Citrus is an okay option. I don't think you need like a bunch of like crazy, crazy tech. I think there's things to be said for just playing standard in some situations. Let's see. If we're going to be U-turning and bullet punching, I also don't even know if we want Terra Blast. Like, let's actually think about that. Like, we talked about Infernape being an issue, and they go Fire Terra. But, like, what else do we actually struggle with? I think that, like, Water Scizor is really, really underrated in this situation. It gives us, if we go Water Scizor and we have Terra Blast, it gives us the ability to check Ceruledges as well. It gives us the ability, if they don't Terra, it gives us the ability to check those Fire Annihilates. We already would check Sylveons. But also, it defends us from other fire attacks. So I think this could actually be really, really good. And then what what item do we need? Leftovers, I would like Leftovers here. I think Lum is underrated. I think Lum is probably the item that I would pick here. We're already using the Covert Cloak. That would be another great item here. I think Covert Cloak Gardevoir is very, very good, by the way. Very, very correct choice. Can't go Vest because we need to use Tailwind sometimes. And can't go Band because we need to use Tailwind sometimes. I guess you could still technically go Band. We don't have any other way to restore health as well. So I don't think like there's like a reason for... It's just hard to say. Like, what is a good item on this guy? You could think about going, like, Expert Belt. I don't really think you need that. You could go, like, Electric or Grass Reduced Berry for after you Terra Water. I don't think you need that either. Eject Button, Eject Pack. There's like 3 or 4 good items that I think we're definitely looking over that could be used in this situation. You could also technically just Mirror Herb it, too, and just be a bully. But let's see. There's nothing wrong with Citrus, and I think Citrus is the safest item after thinking about it. And the reason you want Citrus is because we are very bulky, and this lets us soak like a decent amount of damage from like a double up. So if they want to go like a move that does half, they progress in Citrus range, we gain 25% health back. And then, you know, we don't get KO'd by the double up if they have it. So we get our Tailwind up, which allows things like Lock 6 and Scarlet to win the game, and even Scizor itself to win the game after that. I think this is a good tech. If you want to put Brick Break on there, be my guest. Brick Break Expert Belt would probably do a lot to things like T-Tars. So, and it would help you when the screens match up. So if you want to change that, you don't have the Water Terra Shards, think about just going Brick Break. And then from there, you'd probably want to go like, I still think Citrus is a good item choice. Or maybe even Safety Goggles on something like this to be able to make it so you're immune to like Moongus' Spores. You can pivot in on those slots. But Citrus Berry is going to be really, really good for being able to pivot in on like Make It Rains. And so many other moves that are just going to put you within range. Let's start doing these EVs. Again, you usually want to max out your HP on Mons. It's usually just more cost effective to max out your HP because it's mitigating damage to both defense and special defense at the same time. So very rarely would you just see someone maxing defense or SpDef. The only extreme examples are things like Blissies and Snorlaxes and stuff. From here, yes, you could go heavy into attack, but you can already tell from Scarlet you don't need a ton. We're going to do a couple calcs to see how much damage we need to KO things. I think the number one calc we're going to want to run is Lycanroc. So let's throw Scizor here. So Scizor. And be sure to set it. We're probably going to be an Adamant Nature. Let's just throw Lycanroc here. And everything's going to get set to 50 in just a sec. And this is the Sand Rush Lycanroc that we're calcing for right now. We're going to have Technician as our ability. Technician, there we go. So we can see Scizor, if I plug in like Bullet Punch here, it goes 89 to 105. So we need a little bit more damage, and let's give this guy a 4. He'd be like a 252 attack, 252 speed, 4 HP. So we want to still make that number KO, and we definitely can. So 156 is what we need to make sure that KOs. And so this is good against banded Lycanrocs, which remember are good against our team. Like it checks our Scarlet, it checks our Lock 6. We need those things checked. So 156 plus Adamant. So that's all that we really need. For example, anything else that we would need to, if we want to like U-turn T-Tars, that would probably carry over and get the KO. This makes our Bullet Punch do a lot of damage. This is a good amount of attack, and this will carry over into making sure that our other moves will be able to KO things as well. I think on Scizor, you definitely want a little bit of speed. 65 is a relatively common base speed. You know, Pelipper has the same speed. You want to use just a little bit of speed control there. And then last but not least, I think, like I was talking about the Scarlet, there's absolutely nothing wrong with cutting those up and splitting up. And if you think you might want a little bit more defense, think about, you know, taking some SpDef out. And if you want a little bit more special defense, think about adding a little bit more SpDef. But 44 split, and then from there playing a few games and realizing which ones works for you is a really, really good way to test. Also, remember, we're going to be using Friend Guard on the mouse hold. So Friend Guard makes it so you take less damage from things as well. So be able to factor in Friend Guard when you're doing all of your defensive calcs with these teams. We're making this team a lot bulkier, and we're going to be able to add Friend Guard calcs on top of that if you actually want to make that work. But Porygon's one of those mons that does get those diminishing returns. You get diminishing returns basically at its inherent level when your HP stat or whatever stat you're going to be getting diminishing returns on is double respective defense stat. So right now, basically, it would be costing like 20 points in EVs for mitigating damage if I were to put those in HP versus like 4 points in defense or 8 points in defense. It's twice as ineffective to put points in HP first. So if a Porygon has a really, really big HP, usually I say you would get diminishing returns around the 220, 230 mark. So like that's probably something like, you know, 156, about 225. Let's hover right there, see what else we need. I think there's absolutely nothing wrong with going at 252 in defense. It's bulky mon. I think again 65. I'm gonna put 20 here, just so I can even be outspeeding my Scizor a little bit. And I want to give the illusion that my Scizor is 0 speed, so it's made for Trick Room. So if I were to lead like Vaporeon and Scizor, and I'm leading against like into the Armor Rouge, and I go like turn 1, like something like a Muddy Water and a U-turn, and they see Scizor slower, I want them to think that I'm like Iron Ball, speed reduced, slow Scizor, so I can this basically keeps their Armor Rouge like always respecting the Scizor even more. So that's just a slight little mind game tactic, but I think it's completely fine. You want to just probably put the rest of points in SpDef, which is a good stat in Vaporeon. And now a couple people probably think like, why are you putting like 76? Why don't you just put 80 there? Well, again, the first 4 points matter, and then after that, it's multiples of 8. So if I were to put 80 there, you can see the number is actually exactly the same as if I had 76. So like 125 on the right, still 125. So the next one, if I wanted to get, would be 84, right? So the lowest I can go is 76. Go to 75, you see I'll lose a point. So 76 is the right way to do it, and then from there, you want to max out whatever stat is your highest if you don't really know. I think this team actually does want a little bit more SpDef. You want as much defense as possible on Vaporeon, but this team already has a lot of like good defenses against some common physical types. I want more Pokemon that can deal with like Hyper Voice, Sylveon, and things like that. So I'm gonna go like this, and yeah, that's also just lets us put the last 4 in special attack, which isn't like that important. I think also as well on Vaporeon, because we have Water Absorb, we can completely afford to change it to a different Terra type, and I would want to change it to a Terra type that is completely clashing with someone trying to Terra Grass our Vaporeon. So like Fire Terra is okay. I don't know about the Steel Terra. Flying Terra could be okay. I don't know why I clicked Shiny. Ghost Terra is what I would normally say. I think actually Dark Terra doesn't really clash with Water Absorb, but I would think Dark Terra is good to be able to stop Prankster Taunts, because this is a wall. Like, we want to be able to use Yawns, we want to be able to use Haze, and it protects. So I would just go Dark Terra. If you don't have the shards, it's not that important, but I would change it. Same thing for Scizor. We have Water Terra. This thing, Normal Terra is cool there. Fire Terra, the double dip there is good. Bug Terra is good here as well. I think I might even want to go Dark Terra to make the Sucker Punch actually still get KOs that you might not normally get. I'd probably change this to Dark Terra. Like, I thought about that earlier as well. Mousehold, last but not least, we still have 2 mons here, or 2 moves. I think, like, we want to make this more of, like, a support set. I like the Encore here. I know a lot of people like Taunt as well. I'm of the opinion that if there's anything you want to taunt, you can usually just let that thing happen, because most things are going to hold a Mental Orb anyways. And you can just Encore Loop them, proc their Mental Orb, and, you know, continue to Encore Loop them. But you can Encore Loop a lot of mons. Like, if someone wants to Protect Bait or use, like, Tailwind and you match their speed control, like, let's say I were to lead Scizor or Mousehold, and they were to lead, like, a mon, and they were to go, like, whatever move they do, they're not going to get a KO on Scizor and Mousehold. We have a Sash anyways, and Tailwind, and I Tailwind trade, and Mousehold still probably outspeeds their Tailwind setter, unless it's like a Prankster Tailwind setter, and then I can just Encore Loop them into Tailwind. So I think I like the Encore here. I think this Pokemon is absolutely amazing, and then we probably want some sort of move in this situation. We're probably going to be built something like this, where we take the last 4, split it up into 244, and go with like a 4-4 split here. So we don't actually need like damage dealing moves. I think a lot of people here go with Super Fang. I'm not sold on Super Fang, but on a set like this, it definitely works. You actually can get a KO on Super Fang if your opponent has 1 HP. So if you use a move that clocks a Sash, Super Fang will KO them. Something people don't usually know. We can even go like a 4-4-4 here. But I don't know how I feel about Super Fang. Like, I think Super Fang's okay. I feel like you want some sort of attack. I don't think we need any more U-turns, right? But I think that, like, Super Fang's probably okay. And yes, this is, like, wasting points in an attack slot here, but it's more valuable to have the points in the respective defenses here. Let me think about that. I don't like Super Fang. I'm just not a big fan of it. I like U-turn way more. Being able to pivot out this mon, bring it back in the late game. I like U-turn. And I'm a big fan of U-turns. Like, I think this team functions off U-turn. So what we did with this team is, like, this has Protect, this has Protect, this has Protect, this has Protect. If you really want to take out all the water stuff and just put Protect Scizor and use a U-turn Bullet Punch, that's fine. But the cool thing about this team is, like, we can always kind of lead this Vaporeon now and just go for Yawns on stuff, soak damage, get the leftovers, go for Muddy Waters, get those accuracy drops, get those Yawns, U-turn, pin after they go to sleep, and just then start going to town. So those are the changes that I would make to this team right here. And I'm already going to be getting those people saying, like, I like all the changes you made, but you didn't play any games with the team. How do we know if it works? Let me set this to the actual format, set for doubles OU. Well, now, how do we know if the changes actually work? Well, I made these changes, but remember, this is not a rental code. I don't have these mons. I don't have the Mousehold. I don't have the Scizor. I can make the changes. I can give them back the Pokepaste. If they want to actually go and make this into a rental, we'll use it on YouTube and show it off and see if the changes I actually made worked. But I think this is a really cool way to feature Loxix as, like, the anchor of the team. We basically want to bring it almost every game, and then build the rest of the team to actually, like, support the Loxix. I think this is a really, really cool team. Ceruledge is cool, Gardevoir's cool. It uses some unique mons in unique ways, and it also doesn't have, like, that bad of defensive typing. So hopefully you like these changes. If you guys have a team you want to submit for yourself, think about letting me know. Hopefully they also leave up their rental code for a little bit, because I still think this version of the team is a lot of fun. So guys, try out this rental code. Let me know if there's any changes you'd make that I didn't make. And yeah, thank you so much to Haru for submitting the team. Again, if you guys have teams you want to submit, let me know on Patreon. We're going to try to get to all these. I'm going to do 2 or 3 a day. It's probably going to take a couple weeks, but you know, I like these sort of little team building streams. So thank you guys so much for watching. Hopefully you had a good time, and yeah, keep playing Pokemon, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace out.